Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Two Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4 set up that is one of the more underappreciated aspects of the chapter, which is the seeds that are being planted for Sarada versus Kawaki. It's easy to get lost in all the hype of the new enemies that are being made out of those claw grind, Boruto knowing the flying Raijin, and Sasuke now being confirmed to be a tree, but lost in all that shuffle is the growing tension between Sarada and Kawaki, and I personally think this is one of more of the most underrated aspects of the chapter. I've been making a point to say for the last 2 years with ongoing manga, you don't always get the answers you're looking for right away. Sometimes they take 2 or 3 volumes to get the answers, which for a monthly manga can be a year of waiting in real time, since 3 volumes is 12 chapters, and that's not including any breaks that you might get, and there are times it can take longer to see things truly bubble over to start giving an answer to questions that you might have. I think we're finally about to start seeing some traction that is coming from the seeds that were planted as early as Sarada and Kawaki first interacting in Konoha, when she looked at the guy like he was crazy when he almost attacked that kid, when she was shopping with Naruto and Kawaki, and then how in Boruto chapter 58, the two of them had that heated exchange during their training arc, where we see them get into it before Boruto steps in. As we went into the Boruto time skip, waiting on Boruto Two Blue Vortex to officially begin, the thing on everyone's mind was what would happen when we got to that time skip, because she was one of the few people who knew the truth about Boruto and Kawaki. She was the loose end in the minds of a lot of people. Sarada would be on a tight leash, and Kawaki would move to have her taken out of the equation if she did become a problem. After all, he had Ada who would just say, hey, Boruto did it, hey, Code did it. Whatever Ada said, they'd likely go along with it. When we got the leaks of her new design, what it looked like, one of the things I drove home in the video I did breaking down that design is how every aspect of her character design has subtle hints that are oozing with defiance aimed at Kawaki, the imposter son of Naruto, from her not just wearing the Uchiha crest on her back, but also having it on her earrings, so people who see the crest of her father, the traitor who helped the killer of the Hokage, escape. The way she cut her hair shorter in a pixie bob in a way that subconsciously makes you think of Boruto, the dark color scheme on her jacket being mostly black with a red lining to loosely mirror Boruto's black jacket with the pink lining, and so many other things I went over in that video. When we got chapter 1 of Boruto Two Blue Vortex, we learned that Sarada was out here openly putting a target on her back from day one. Sarada is loyal as hell, being one of the loudest voices after the Omnipotence occurred. We learned that she was one of the ones pointing out that Kawaki was lying about everything, because Naruto's son was never a cyborg experimented on by Amato, but Kawaki is a cyborg. Naruto's son had Momoshiki's DNA and not Ishiki's DNA, so why does Kawaki have Ishiki's karma in his dojutsu? Sarada was going hard immediately after all of this, and she was trying desperately to make things right for Boruto. Even after 3 whole years had passed, she's still in Shikamaru's office, and she's chirping and defending Boruto in a passionate manner, knowing full well that it all would have got back to Kawaki. And when this happened, there were a lot of fans who were asking, hey, how can she be so bold to continuously speak up against Kawaki in this manner and so openly when everyone thinks that Kawaki is Naruto's son and there aren't any consequences to her actions? That don't make any sense. Why wasn't Kawaki out there trying to put the fear of God in her and shut her mouth up? And I saw people calling this a plot hole. Fast forward to chapter 4 and we finally have our answers. Kawaki does know she's been running her mouth this whole time, and it led to the two of them having a very heated confrontation in the manga in the chapter this month. I don't think this is going away either, because while Sarada doesn't know the specifics behind why Kawaki got the Omnipotence casted, only that he's the reason it was casted, she was smart enough to see what he was doing and how the two things, his actions and the Omnipotence, might actually be linked together. But let's be clear here, there is a communication gap between Sarada and Kawaki that deserves its own video, because there's some common ground with these two that's not actually being seen, because both of them are super stubborn. Kawaki was desperate to have Boruto be the outsider, so it would be easier for the people of Konoha to kill Boruto because they wouldn't have an emotional attachment to him. And honestly, Kawaki was right in that assessment. Sarada can see plain as day that Kawaki's taking advantage of all this stuff to have Boruto eliminated, and she's putting her foot down in a very subtle way, in a very smart way. Sarada told Shikamaru in chapter 1 to call out the board to execution and listen to him, and now in chapter 4, she's back in the Hokage office again, telling him that he needs to call things off, stop overthinking the situation, and verify the truth of what happened with Code by speaking with Ada. It's Sarada's way of saying, I can't get you to call off Boruto's execution, but I can at least buy Boruto some time by proposing that we view Code as a bigger threat, and she has masterfully manipulated the situation to where she could have Boruto be viewed as the lesser of two evils and as being the one that Konoha needed to focus on supporting. It buys her time, and it gives Boruto a chance to start changing the opinions about him the same way that Ada told Sarada in chapter 1 would be the only way to begin making progress, because it would be impossible to convince people that their memories are wrong, but it would be easier to make them see things from a different perspective. It's the same thing I tried doing here on this channel, Naruto Explained. Back in 2018, I used to get viewed as someone who only did Naruto content and wasn't seen as someone who was overly supportive of Boruto, but I wasn't out here taking dumps on Boruto for likes and views like you saw back then and like you still see now with some creators. I came off like I tolerated Boruto, and I did the 3 to 4 videos when a chapter came out, and only if I was actually excited about it because it was the Naruto sequel. I talked about Naruto, so I kind of said, hey, here's 3 or 4 videos, throw Boruto fans a bone in this instance, and I'll go back to doing Naruto content. It took me years to change that perspective because there were some people upset that I was critical of Boruto back then, and during the course of those years, I probably took it too far to an extreme to where, you know how people who think I only discuss Boruto when it's really about a 60-40 split of Boruto and Naruto content each month respectively. So now we're again putting in the work to change that perspective to being more balanced of a 50-50 channel between Naruto and Boruto. But I also know it takes time to accomplish that, so that's the goal for 2024. So I say that to say that's basically where Sarada is right now, trying to slowly put the blocks together so someone like Shikamaru can come around to her line of thinking, which is that Boruto is not the bad guy that people are making him out to be. That is what brings the conflict with Kawaki. What she's trying to do runs counter to what's caused him to make the Shinjutsu happen in the first place. If she accomplishes this goal, then it becomes harder for people to kill Boruto because their opinion about Boruto has begun to change. Kawaki has every incentive to continue gaslighting the people of the village into seeing Boruto as being the murderer of Naruto. It's both for his own benefit of wanting to have Boruto killed due to Boruto being an Otsutsuki genetically, and for Kawaki's own safety, because as long as Momoshiki is inside of Kawaki and can still hijack his body, then Kawaki isn't truly safe either, which is a reminder, Momoshiki can still hijack Boruto's body. He just can't resurrect using his body, which are two different things. The other reason, and the most important reason, that Kawaki has to stop her is if she is successful in this and gets people to say, hear out Boruto, there's a chance he's forced to unseal Naruto. If he unseals Naruto before either eliminating Boruto or making amends with Boruto, it basically wastes everything that he sacrificed up to this point. And make no mistake, Kawaki did make some sacrifices to get here. Him turning on Naruto in the manner that he did, it was a really big deal. Something that we can't underestimate at all if we're being honest here, because it took a lot to seal away the person that he admired the most, and he knew he was in the wrong for doing it, which is why he said to Naruto, when this is all over, if you feel like it and I feel like you're safe, then you can kill me if you want to. That's a big reason for Kawaki to want to go forward and clash with Sarada here, because even if she doesn't realize it, she's putting herself against the dangerous aspects of his ideology. They're going to be destined to clash at some point in time, and given how hot-tempered the two of them can be, it's going to be a clash that turns physical very quickly. I don't think we've seen the last of these two being at odds with one another, and honestly, it's a subplot that I don't think the manga would be smart to abandon. I think it would do well continuing to build up that tension that is out there in the open. However, I am curious to know what you guys think about this setup for Kawaki versus Sarada.